I'm very pleased to be here, and it's a challenge to present this as I'm an urban planner to these highly qualified water specialists. But I try to focus on the integrated approach that was asked for here, combining sustainable urban development and water management. And I go on. This is the background, of course, is general, that we have to reduce our the ecological footprint and the water footprint. We have to achieve one planet living in before the first within 150 to 100 years, if possible. That's an enormous challenge. So, of course, every urban project should be addressing these challenges. Of course, we are all aware of this. And I will go directly into the case here. The geographical position of, maybe I have no pointer. Is there any pointer, maybe? I can maybe. Okay, thank you. Thank you. The position, as you said here, is in the eastern part of China. It's about 220 kilometers east from Beijing, the largest city in China. And it's in the Tangshan region with about 8 million people. In Beijing, it's about 12 million people. So it's a huge region. And the decision has been made to develop in China about 50 new cities in order to, because the old cities are thus dysfunctional for the enormous influx of people to cities. It's about 15 to 20 million new citizens every year in China. And in this context, the Tangshan Eco-Bay City is decided to be a supplement to a huge industrial area and a port in this region. And the city is planned to be 150 square kilometer and intended for 1.5 million people within maybe 50 to 100 years perspective. So it's an enormous scope of this city. The industrial area is about 300 square kilometer, and the idea is that the city will supplement the industrial area with more knowledge-based and science-based activities. Because, as you know, in China, there is also lots of effort on heavy industry at the same time as there's effort on ICT and more advanced technologies. This is, you can say, this planning is part of the effort from Swedish government to apply what we call the Symbiocity approach, which is an integrated approach based on best practice in Sweden, in Stockholm, Gothenburg, Malmö, and other cities in Sweden. And it has been applied all over the world in different contexts. And in this context, China, it's specific because China is, until now, the only country that has efforts to build totally new cities. And that is, of course, to some extent controversial. As we know, we have dysfunctional existing cities. This is the model of the first 30 square kilometer city area. C.A.D. company was involved in 2008 to develop the first phase of this 150 square kilometer area. And that is 1/5 of the city. It's 30 square kilometer, planned for being implemented until about 2025. Maybe it could be delayed to 2030. And it's, of course, an enormous area. It's about for 400,000 people and for 200,000 workplaces. It's a mixed-use, compact city with about 10,000 people per square kilometer at least. It's inspired from a Nordic and from European way of planning. That means that density can be achieved by this network and block structure instead of just high-rise structures. That is maybe the normal way of planning in China. And I will go into some of the challenges related to water and urban planning. One challenge here is, of course, that new land is taken in order to preserve all the agricultural area which are needed in China. You cannot take greenfield land. And in that's why the cities has extended on about 12 square kilometer out in the sea. And you can also see this dike protection it from water sea level rise. How much is, many of you are not from Stockholm, but some of you are, and you can see the size of this first 30 square kilometer. It's about covering all the areas in Stockholm that has been developed since almost 800 years back. And this will be implemented in about 15 to 20 years. So this is, of course, an extreme challenge. And the first challenge is to protect this. As it was said here from Lagos, you have this, of course, protection from sea level rise and flooding is enormous important, of course. 2 dikes are planned here in order to safeguard the city. And this is the first dike, about 10 meters high, which will also be part of the communication system because it's very important to interlink the towns along the coast in this area of China. Here you can see also the first step of the it was 3 years ago when it was started to develop the dike and also to fill up new land in order to preserve the agricultural areas north and west of the city. And this first dike is about 8 kilometers long. This is the situation in April this year. I was there, and then the protection dike has been fully implemented, and you can see also lots of developments are now developed during. It's lots of developments ongoing in China or in this new city. It's almost difficult to get the full picture of what is going on. Another challenge is maybe related to the very high level in this staircase of steps, the sensitive way of handling water, the attractive waterfronts, because this city, about 15 kilometers of the city will be related to the waterfront. So we have put very much of effort to develop attractive waterfronts with mixed use, with both housing, workplaces, cultural functions, different kinds of public spaces. And you can see, this is from the spring, that the first step of these efforts have been implemented. 2 rivers, this city is planned with the sea at one side, and we have 2 rivers also adjacent to the city. And this is very important to develop the riverfronts, the waterfronts, with efforts to make it possible for both attractive waterfronts, but also waterfronts that can be possible to use them for mitigate flooding that can also happen here, because you have very high water level in the rivers some parts of the year. Stormwater management and vegetation is, of course, very important, and this is very much of this area is salt water. So you can see in the blue colors saltwater areas, but in the north, where you have the agricultural fields, you have more of sweet water. So we have developed a concept of different layers with different contents of balance between salt water and sweet water, and to develop concepts for different kinds of plants and different kinds of vegetation adapted to that situation. Stormwater is also, of course, difficult here, because you have lots of you have to keep, in order, in this situation, you have also to develop methods to store stormwater from the few rainy periods that are here to many very dry area. So that has been developed with some inspiration from Swedish examples. We have developed also stormwater principles on different levels, on the city level, on the city district level, on the block level, with green roof as one ingredient, but also with different kinds of storage system for stormwater that can be used for irrigation and also for attractive waterscapes. This is from this spring, when you can see not a very green period, but you can see that these efforts, that in each block there are lots of efforts to develop green areas that also can be combined with this stormwater storage, and contribute both then to good water balance in the area, but also to a green area. Resources management was also pointed out here as very important, and we have used the principles that we have developed in Symbio City of combining the water cycle with energy and with waste management in order to utilize the resources in the most efficient way. I don't go into the details here, but there's lots of, as you may know, groundwater is a scarce resource in China, and especially in Beijing area, this is extremely critical. And in this area, there's a combination of different ways that our water experts in Sweco and in the Chinese counterparts have developed, looking at both rivers, reservoirs, to look at inland lakes. Desalination should be reduced because of high energy use that is needed. So a combination of different sources. And also grey water could be a possible also resource in the future. And to develop a water cycle that is balancing all these resources. One idea that we have launched in China in many planning cases is the Resources Management Center, which is a center, an area, but also an organization where you combine all the plans and all the functions related to centralized or also decentralized water supply, water handling, and wastewater treatment, but also, for example, district heating plants and district cooling, and also biogas, for example, which is a very important resource for the transportation. So we have the vision here is to have all of the BRT, bus fleet, the fuel for this bus fleet will be biogas based. We have also development of separation of grey water and black water in order to utilize resources in the best possible manner, to utilize, for example, grey water also as a resource for washing and for lots of activities, and to utilize the nutrients for the agriculture in order to replace artificial nutrient. That is possible for about 100 square kilometers in the surrounding area. A pilot plant for black and grey water has been developed, which is the only plant in China with separation of black water and grey water, planned by Sweco and also Purifier company in Sweden. The biogas step will be inaugurated when there will be more than 80,000 citizens in the city. And there are also planned showroom for showcasing the principles. This is a picture from the plant. Urban agriculture is an option for the future. Lots of visions are developed now in collaboration between Sweco and Plantagon all over the world. And this can be a very interesting supplement to the kind of more traditional agriculture in a city, in a dense city. Public awareness, innovation, and demonstration is very important. That's why a sustainability center is planned and under construction in order to showcase all the planning principles of the city. The innovation park with water as the main theme will be an important element in this center. Transportation of water is important. In this area, we have the industrial area, and it's a planned water transportation public transportation on water, with also interchanges between ferry traffic and BRT, light rail systems. There's a huge future potential for integrated approach on sustainable urban development and water management. And of course, as has been pointed out, institutional arrangements are of crucial importance, of course, to facilitate the needed multidisciplinary working procedures. And of course, the transformation of existing cities is the major challenge in European, but also in other contexts, developing countries. But the planning of new cities is, of course, controversial to some extent, but I think it's a necessity in Asia and also maybe in Africa due to the rapid urban growth. And it should be utilized as a window of opportunity. You can test out new principle, but which is not possible in the constraint, in the constraints that you find in existing cities. And of course, we should have a mutual exchange of experience between cities in different regions. And in this case, there is a collaboration between the city of Malmö in Sweden and Tangshan as one part of that effort to develop further connections. Sustainable cities is an issue of responsibility for our and future generations. And we have an Indian saying, we haven't inherited the word from our ancestors, we have borrowed it from our children and grandchildren. This is 3 of my 6 grandchildren. Thank you very much.